Okay, welcome along, councillors, to the October meeting of council. First of all, welcome back to Councillor Reid. And we recognise the efforts and the input from Mr. Longmuir in the past, and hope that he may be back in this chamber sometime in the future. I'd also take a moment to recognise, councillors, that we sit before King Charles, his portrait over there. Now, it is a moment in history, and I spoke of this the other week, but it's a moment in history, and I just added to Councillor Kilpatrick, if you look at the honour board, no one from the Shire of Wagen has sat before other than Queen Elizabeth II. This Shire of Wagen was formed in 1961, so it's a moment to reflect, I guess, of that time, and we now sit before King Charles, and we recognise the moment, I guess. Anyway, we have a lot on the agenda tonight, so we will try not to dwell. Welcome to the gallery that's with us tonight. Thanks for coming along. I will look at, where are we, item 1.1 being the record of attendance, and it's great to see that we have full house tonight, Mr. CEO.
I'd like to acknowledge that our traditional minute taker is absent today, owing a very important reason that she's off in Perth receiving her WA transport licensing training, which is very, very important, but is a mandatory 5-day program before you're allowed onto the WA transport system. So it will be a tremendous help in case he's back on deck to be able to assist with all the licensing inquiries, but that's where she is this week.
Right, okay. So we do have an able scribe in her absence.
That's right. No.
Just, we will need to speak slowly and clearly. Okay, item 2 being public question time. We have members on the public with us, determined to be staff determined to be public. CEO, for the benefit of this meeting, yes. Any questions you wish to raise, or you're
no questions.
Not bringing questions? All right, thank you. 2.1, Mr. CEO, there was one question which you did receive, taken on notice from Councillor O'Brien with regards to the fit out of the hockey cricket pavilion. I think councillors have all seen the answer to that. Is there anything you wanted to add to that, Mr. CEO? Are you comfortable?
No, I would note, under the Shire standing orders, a question on notice needs to be made 4 clear days before the council meeting occurs.
Yep.
Given that it was represented as a question notice, in accordance with the standing orders, I'd be happy to take it as a question on notice to the November meeting in all formality if that's requested.
Okay, we can have a look at that. Councillor O'Brien, I think it was fairly well answered anyway, Mr. CEO. All right, we'll move on to item 3, applications for leave of absence. November meeting will all be available. Terrific. Item 4, petitions and deputations. We have nil. Okay, item 5 being disclosure of interests. Councillors, are there any disclosures of financial or other interests?
Mr. President, yes. I note that the Office Chief Executive Officer have declared an interest in 2 of the matters this evening, being, read my notes here, for financial interest in item 8.1.4, appointment to members of the Audit Committee and more importantly the CEO Review Committee, right. And an impartiality interest in 8.4.2, which is the CEO's vehicle, and the nature and the extent of those interests is declared in the agenda.
Yep, all right, thank you very much. Okay, councillors, we shall move on to item 6, being confirmation of previous meeting minutes. And there are 2 of those which we can take in block. If you wish to, councillors, you're moving, Councillor Kilpatrick. Second, Councillor O'Brien. Is there any business arising, first of all, from those? Is there any dissent on the motion? I shall declare that carried absolutely. Item 7, announcement from the President. I think I've already done that with regards to the King Don't have any others at this stage, other than what was reported by the CEO of the annual general meeting. Councillor West, you have a question?
Yeah, what about 6.2?
Did I miss something? We moved 2 items in block, Councillor.
Yep, okay.
So yes, that's been done. Okay, item 8, in specific 8.1.1, there's a recommendation that council receive the financial report for the period ending 30th September. Councillor Chilcott has moved, I have a seconder. Councillor Reid. Manager of Finance, is there anything else you need to expand on?
No, thank you.
No, we're going well?
We are.
Good to hear. All right, any questions of the manager? There being none, is there any dissent on the motion? If not, I shall put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? That is carried 7-0. The next one is on about page 50 something. Am I right?
53.
Okay. We can pause while I find page 53. Okay, item 8.1.2, schedule of payments for September, and is a recommendation that council receive. Councillor Kilpatrick has moved. To have a second, Councillor O'Brien. You have had the opportunity, councillors, but is there any questions? No, once again, manager, nothing you need to
No.
expand upon? Is there any dissent on the motion? In which case, I shall declare that carried 7-0. We shall move on. 8.1.3, CEO's activity report for the month of September-October. It's a recommendation that council notes the report. Thank you, Councillor Chilcott has moved. Councillor Kilpatrick second. We need some flies around here to get to moving. Take that as a bid, Mr. CEO. Anything you wish to expand upon?
No, there's a lot going on, as evidenced by that report. I would briefly mention a meeting that I took last week that was prior to around the same time as the publication of the agenda, which was a meeting with the Trotting Club. They believe that their grant through the Racing for Royalties for Racing program will be coming in shortly. That is based on quite a grant application or a business case that was made several years ago regarding both upgrades to the stewards towers, the commentary box and the lighting. And we discussed the various mechanics of that and how the Shire can assist. I committed to sourcing some quotes for the lighting part of the business on the club's behalf, given that it's got probably some interest to some other associations in the general wider venue. And the club will be looking at the commentary box and like getting some quotes of that. The aim being that when the money comes in, that we've got a distinct plan going forward for how that money is spent, albeit that it is occurring to a Shire facility, but it is actually going to be a grant that is directly received by the club, as I understand it.
Right. All right, thank you. Any questions of the CEO's report, councillors?
Excuse me.
Councillor Wall?
Just wonder, in reference to that matter, whether the election commitment from the incumbent government now was part of that, or is that in relation to it? I believe there was a $400,000 election commitment.
That's correct. That's the one and the same. So that election commitment is resulting in some of those monies going out at the moment, and certainly the club wants to make sure that it receives all the money that it's been promised and that it's expended and doesn't get captured by any of the state government agencies that oversee racing in the state.
Very wise.
All right, Councillor, yes, Councillor Kilpatrick, sorry.
I will just follow on from that. What's the timing for all that work? For that, I mean, interview with Waterama at all? Or?
So we have no timetable on this. So this was very much a preparatory meeting. So officers had written to the minister immediately after the state government election, congratulating on the victory and saying, pay some money now, please.
Yeah, right.
As a bit of a reminder that you did make that election commitment. That was done in consultation with the clubs. they sent back some correspondence saying, yep, we'll get to it in terms of the state government. We then sent another letter to Racing WA with, again, in consultation with the club, saying we'd like to talk to you about this. And so they've been progressing along, making that funding available through Treasury. And this meeting that occurred last week was again initiated by the clubs, sort of saying, look, we're seeing some of the clubs getting around the traps getting the money. We don't have the funding agreements yet, but we want to be ready to rock and roll when they do come on board. So, yeah, again, very much will be something that the money is going to be received by the clubs. They've got to decide what they're looking for, but certainly with the lighting, I think that's something that we, as the Shire, can provide some further assistance on in terms of scoping the exact works, because it will be of benefit to the broader users of that facility. Whereas the commentary box is more of a singular thing for the trotting clubs. So they've had some old designs for that, and it's a matter of whether those things can be delivered with the funding that they've got, or depending on how much the lighting costs, you might have to reduce your scale of that particular project as well. So beyond that sort of meeting, we don't have a lot more details there.
Right. The commentary box would be used by the football crowd
Oh,
as
right,
well,
okay.
but I think there's an overlap between the two entities anyway,
Correct,
being the main commentators is Kevin Spur anyway.
correct.
Right, so I don't think there'll be any downsides to that.
Sure.
Yep, all right. Further questions? Just one odd note, Mr CEO, with regards to the Auditor General. We spoke of this afterwards about the Reg 17 and Reg 5. There's nothing been done about that, despite, we've spoken about that with the Auditor General. So how would we go about progressing to attempt to hold out or to get removed those two regulations?
Yeah, so I would suggest some advocacy through our zone maybe wise. We also could again as a zone or as the Shire independently write to the Auditor General asking them to take up the baton.
Okay.
There's a couple of different ways to skin that cat. Albeit that I think as other agenda items reveal, the Minister is more preoccupied with electoral reforms.
Yes, so for the benefit of other councillors, the Reg 17 and Reg 5 are basically, we believe, an overlap from what the current Auditor General is doing in the audit process. So those regulations have existed before the Auditor General was part of the local government mix. And when we spoke with the Auditor General this time last year, she agreed with us at least that it appears as though we have to do that same task twice at a cost of about 20 grand, I think it cost us last year, or the year before, Mr. CEO.
Yes, it did, yeah.
We were obliged to do that every 3 years.
Yes, that's correct.
So if we can remove that, we can allay some of the audit costs that are plaguing us at the moment. All right, thanks for that, Mr. CEO. Anything further? Being the case, we have a motion, I believe, was moved and seconded by Councillor Kilpatrick and... Sorry?
Chilcott and Kilpatrick.
I thought it was, thank you. Is there any dissent on that motion? In which case I'll sort of declare that carried, absolutely. All right, we'll move on to the appointments. 8.1.4 on page 62. Excuse me. And I have pre-populated that to some degree, which is up there on the board now, but for those who may not be able to read, I've put into that recommendation myself as a presiding member, and that will change once legislation comes through, Mr. CEO.
Yes, if not earlier, then we might. Do you mind if I actually give a bit of a?
Yeah, sure.
This
Go right
probably
ahead.
is one of needs to be. It is referenced in the report to some degree, but we know that at some point a trigger is going to get pulled in the Minister's office that's going to commence legislation that requires every local government to have an independent chair of the audit committee. When I say an independent chair, it can't be a current councillor. And it's going to require also to have an independent deputy chair in the event that your independent chair can't attend. So every local government is going to have to require these. Now, there's been some work that Wellborough has done to identify a pool of people. Other local governments around the traps have put out EOIs and the like, calling for interest in their community and the like. I haven't been as direct in that regard. Obviously had some conversations with the Shire President about potential people that we think would be suited to that role. And I encourage councillors to identify members of the community that they think might be useful or be interested in that role. The important part about the role is that one of the reasons why people aren't necessarily think that they'd be suitable for it is because they think that you've got to be an expert in audit or finance and the like. The independent member isn't taking away the responsibility of officers or all of council to have scrutiny over the financial affairs and governance of the organisation. The presiding member is essentially the role is to just chair the meeting. All of the members of the committee are equally responsible for having the responsibilities to scrutinise those reports. That's, I think, something that's been a little bit lost in the communications of things. So we've identified some feelers for it. We will take an item to council with the recommendations for that, because we know that if the minister says you've got to have it tomorrow and the legislation kicks in tomorrow, the audit committee can't meet, the audit committee can't perform its functions, and then we can't endorse the annual report. So it is something we do need to get onto, but we do have some irons in the fire. So that's the context for now, because the legislation hasn't kicked in, and we're able to appoint a councillor as the presiding member.
Yeah, and if I can add to that, ideally our audit will be completed just before the November meeting of council, so we need an audit committee to progress that, that report and get on with the elected meeting in the December round of local government meetings, if that's possible.
No, it would be a lovely set of things going the right way for once, if we were able to get the audit committee meeting done before the legislation kicks in. Which
Well,
just never know.
it's almost a must,
Yeah.
I would think, but okay, the pressure is on others than ourselves in that space. All right, so the document, or the recommendation at least, has been pretty populated up there, councillors. And as just explained, it's largely an interim with regards to the audit. And then the CEO review committee that's there was the existing CEO review committee prior to the election. Can change it if you wish, I'm in your hands.
I'll move as written on the screen there, Mr. President.
As written, thank you. Councillor West, are you seconding? So Councillor Ball moves, Councillor West seconds as populated. Is there any questions should ask of the CEO's comments? Any dissent on the recommendation? Yes, Councillor Reid.
Question, I can't see the last line.
Okay, there it is. Comfortable now? Okay, once again, is there any dissent on the on the motion, should I say? That being the case, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? It's carried absolutely. The next item is a similar item with regards to appointments to advisory groups and external bodies. How have you got on,
I think I'm there, Mr. President.
Mr Deputy? It once again has been populated. I take it?
I'll need to, this won't fit on one page.
No, all right, if we can take a moment to read through this. You've got the basis in front of you, councillors. And whether you want to read it or want me to read it to you, you can read it. I'm pleased. In the top half, there's any changes that you wish, councillors, sing out now, because we'll need to scroll down to the bottom half. You comfortable, Councillor Wall, with the Works Service Advisory as written?
No,
Okay.
but I'm not sure where you've got up to with the populating, but I wasn't quite sure when to raise the matter, when I believe there should be a small Works Advisory Committee that could meet during the day and during the week to provide advice perhaps to the manager of works, rather than having the full council, because the full council needs to decide the matters anyway. There are it's the odd matter in the past, whether it be a tree or a grade or whatnot, that I'm sure that there's a role for the Works Advisory Committee for meeting just for an hour during the day to perhaps look at some issues and provide some feedback to the manager of works. I'm not rock solid on it, but that's open to the meeting as to what people are thinking.
Everybody else will support you on that one.
I agree.
Just to note, Mr CEO, I raised the point to Councillor Ball earlier today that as an advisory committee there is effectively no quorum. Am I right?
Yeah, the rules that would apply to that group are the rules that council decides to apply to that group.
Okay.
Like it's yeah.
Yep. So, as opposed to a formal committee of council, which works under the Act with regards to a quorum, so it's one more than half or some such, an advisory group require a quorum?
Well, I think so. There is with advisory groups there is generally a terms of reference that sits with
Okay.
those, and the terms of reference then state what those rules are.
Okay.
If I recall correctly, we have a terms of reference with the Works and Services Advisory Group that is very similar to some of the other advisory groups that were introduced at that time. There are provisions. I think the provisions as a quorum are the same as a committee meeting in those, which being R+1.
R+1.
And obviously you want to have some sort of, if you don't have any framework for the group as such, it's just a series of people chewing the fat.
Yeah, well, I guess where I'm going is the reverse of that, is that as a general rule in the committee structure we used to run, we always ran those committees with less than half of council, so they didn't have a quorum. If that committee then put something to council, they couldn't by default just move it through with numbers.
Sure.
If we do the same with this now, given the numbers of councillors, that means 3 councillors effectively as the Works Committee. Less than half. And is 3 sufficient, Councillor Ball?
I would argue that it's being an advisory body, the recommendations really don't hold any, doesn't hold the same status as a committee of council. So if there were 4 people in agreement, then it really doesn't hold the weight, in my opinion. So I think it should be 4 people.
Okay. Nods of agreement around the room? All right, so we might need to expand the recommendation, Mr Deputy. Is that in your technical capability?
Sure.
Good.
Confidence.
The points all, okay, if you return that to, do you want to name specific councillors here rather than a number of councillors?
Yes, that's what we should be doing.
Probably appropriate. Perhaps we might, you're currently a member. Who would like to be on that committee?
It's a Works one.
Works.
Given the RIG responsibility, perhaps I should be involved.
Yes, Councillor. So Councillors Ball, West, Kilpatrick. Yes, no.
Do you want Jack?
Reid and O'Brien. Okay, and the challenge, as Councillor Councillor Ball is pointing out, is that this advisory group does meet during the day. As a matter of course, it does meet during the day, so it will impinge on your work time, and that's a challenge. I need to remind you of that and give you the opportunity to withdraw should you need to.
Mr. President, maybe
Yes.
it's bold to run a suggestion to
You
the
can.
group, which is very much related to the timing of these things.
Yep.
Under the Act for committees, the time and date of meetings is determined by the presiding member. And so it may be appropriate in these circumstances when there is difficulties in people determining a time and date for the committee or for the council at this point to appoint a presiding member of the group who can liaise with the other councillors and determine when the group needs to meet, because it's been initiated by the advisory group, and what the timing of that is, because if we were not to do that, it would be for officers kind of to be guessing,
Yep,
like a better
yep,
word,
yep, all
when we're
right.
having these meetings.
Yep. Yes, all right. I'm not going to pre-populate the chairman of the Works Committee. So the four of you wish to nominate.
I'd be happy to take on that role.
Okay,
The
Councillor.
Manager works on this.
Paul being appointed as presiding member. Okay, that's forming part of this greater motion now, which, as you can see, has been populated, and you've read most of that, I'm hoping. The external bodies, Mr Deputy, if we can scroll down to. And if I'm reading correctly, there is no reference to the CRC in this, Mr CEO?
There is none at this point, no.
As I said to you, they do require that as part of their constitution, so should we add it to this recommendation now and tidy it up?
You certainly can. So the officers' report references a range of groups that might be still in existence, might still be in existence, and whether there is a formal, whether the council is still of a mind to formally appoint a member.
Right.
Some of those I think are more likely to be others than ones that the council would want to. Probably the CRC is the one where historically we have had a formal representative, and it would be an entirely appropriate time to appoint. If there are any others that council that aren't on that shortlist, or any other groups as well, I'd encourage councillors to raise that with officers, and we can take that to a November meeting
Yeah.
to have those on the books.
Okay, so Mr Deputy, if we can add to the bottom line of that, or somewhere within that at least, I think Councillor Reid is prepared to take a nomination to the CRC. You haven't changed your mind in the interim, Councillor Reid, I'm pleased to hear it. Councillor West, the cottage homes. Yes, no?
Oh, I haven't heard anything for 6, 7, 8 years.
Right, okay, well, we might need to run that down a little bit and see what the, I don't remember their constitution, Councillor Ball, were you required?
No, I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah, well, Coral was still, Coral and Dom was still running it when I was on there.
okay.
And I think that was just prior to when Kath Painter took over.
Okay, so I think there are a couple of other committees that we might, like that we might need to track down, if that's possible, and, I think the, historic village, I know you're part of it anyway, but there's no requirement under that constitution, I wouldn't think.
No, there's not.
Okay, but look, definitely do track them down if you can, councillors,
I
because
will
we,
double check.
please do, and the other one I know was the Ag Society, which I know Councillor Kilpatrick was part of, whether you still attend Ag Society meetings?
No, I'm fine. It always clashes with these meetings.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's another one we might need to just be aware of. Councillor West?
Yeah, I'd like to reintroduce the tourism and maybe Townscape one. Certainly
Okay,
the tourism one.
okay. If we can then, because we're not going to try and populate that now, if you can bring that through before the November meeting.
Okay,
with the
sure.
CEO, discuss it with the CEO as another advisory committee perhaps.
Yep.
See how that goes, we'll track that down from
Yep.
there. All right, so that is an expanded recommendation, or a large recommendation, 8.1.5. You're comfortable with all that it entails now?
Mr President, would you like to just double check the last one that I've added in, if you haven't already?
Community
Resource.
Resource Centre.
Right.
Thank you. Yes, that's the one.
Okay.
All right, councillors, comfortable? You're moving, Councillor O'Brien?
I have.
Thank you. Councillor Chilcott, seconds. Anything further? Assuming no dissent, I'll declare that carried. Again, we'll move on. As a matter of fact, the appointments to the Bushfire Advisory Committee, which I haven't pre-populated, to be awkward. I'm comfortable, this is item 8.1.6. I think Councillor Kilpatrick, were you the deputy of this?
I was the
department?
deputy, I think.
I'm happy to be appointed as to the committee and presiding member. Have been the presiding member for some time on that.
So, that's the Bushfire Advisory Committee?
Sorry? Yes.
Councillor
Councillor Kilpatrick? Yes.
With Councillor Blight being president.
Presiding member, yes.
I think
Down further it is.
Oh,
point 3.
okay, sorry.
No, you're right.
Gotcha.
And the Emergency Management Committee,
Same, isn't it?
same. Unless other councillors wish to be on the Emergency Management Committee. Meets at least once a year. All right, they will be. The populated names will move along with the deputy's challenge with the fingers. Better you than I. That's the recommendation, councillors. Councillor prepared to move. Mr Kilpatrick has moved along those lines. Councillor Reid seconds. Is there any dissent? Shall declare that carried. Item 8.1.7, recommendation to request removal of a tree at 4 Unit Street. The recommendation there, councillors.
I'll move the recommendation.
Ball's moving on the recommendation. Councillor O'Brien seconding.
Yes, I do.
Any dissent?
Yeah.
Councillor West, you dissent?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Councillor Ball, just speak to your motion.
I think it's pretty straightforward for me that the precedent it would create that someone was upset with a particular tree that had out their place, doesn't fit the policy for removal, so I'm quite happy for it to change. The narrative underneath the item explains it quite well to me.
Okay, Councillor O'Brien, just to add.
I've actually spoken to the person who lives in the house and she's quite happy for that tree to remain there now.
All right, thank you. Councillor West, speaking against.
Yeah, I'm speaking against it. Look, I'm looking at the photos. I haven't inspected it because I haven't had time, but the tree is not a very pretty tree. And what I can see there, I can see the mess on the ground there, and I can see in a few years' time there it's going to be up I've got to use my word choicely here, destroying the curbing. And look, we got a lot of trees around town that are past their use by date, and I think we could plant a much nicer looking tree there. And the trees we do take out, I think it's going to be an improvement to the aesthetics of the town. Just like Ware Street outside Ron Walker's place, you've got the smugly trees. That's very, very pretty now. And I think we need to start taking a stance on removing trees that are used past their on date and try and get the people who are interested to help beautify the town in their own way, shape and form. That's the way I look at it.
Very cool. All right, speakers in favour of the motion? Against? Closing, Councillor Wall?
I have nothing further to add.
Okay, in that case, I shall put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? It's carried 6-1. Thank you, Councillor West. Points well made. Item 8 point... Oh, hang on, I've moved along too far.
A75.
Yes, I was there, but I moved on. Who would build a shed that close to a tree? Item 8.1.8. Recommendation to remove a tree at the Randville shed in Showgrounds.
Yep, I'll move.
Councillor West has moved on the recommendation. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Kilpatrick. That being the case, are there any speakers against? Speaking against? All right, Councillor West, your motion.
Yeah, look, I've inspected the tree there. It's damaging the building. It's a Shire property or belongs to the Shire and everything like that there. Sooner or later it has to be removed because otherwise you're going to lose a building. Otherwise, the whole building has to be demolished and put somewhere else. And as I said before, it's unfortunately, this tree's doing a lot of damage to the building.
Doing some damage, yes. I had a seconder, that was Councillor Kilpatrick. Speaking to the
I
motion.
think Councillor West said it well enough, yeah, that it's damaging the tree and it's going to have to go.
Just a question, if I may, just before we do. Mr. Manager of Works, you've had a look at this tree.
Yep.
Interesting challenge to knock that over without...
You'd have to get the professionals in to start at the top and work your way down.
So, Mr. CEO, would we be immediately not taking this tree out or waiting till the professionals are in the community that we use annually, I believe?
Yeah, so I directed to the Base Service Area report, the financial implications where it says the work could be accommodated during the next set of tree maintenance which would be when the gents are back next term in town.
Right, okay, thank you.
But they take a lot of our large trees down around town that have to go.
Yeah, I want to come and watch you do it.
Yeah. Might have a shed left.
Councillor O'Brien?
I didn't realise that there was any damage to the building, but I am reluctant for trees to be removed from the Woolarama or that sort of area because there's limited shade and it does offer some good shade. And unless we can plant other trees in place of it, but yeah, I'm not keen on it being chopped down.
All right, thank you. Speakers in favour of the motion? Councillor Paul.
I would just add one more fact that it's got quite a lean on the tree, which flags interest from me that sometime it's going to take its own demise into its own hands. So that's tip me over to a greater review.
All right. Further speakers against? Closing, Councillor West?
Yeah, I will close there. Look, just to the left that building there, we removed the tree there a few years ago there. That one there's gone, and also on the other side of the big round build shedding, that was been taken down already. So it's not as if this is going to be the first one. So it's just this may be the one of a few that need to go perhaps. But anyway, in this instance, causing damage.
All right, thank you. And I think the case has been made that a replanting or a planting program up in those grounds perhaps does need to be done so that we can make sure as time goes on we do have some shade, yeah, if that being the case. Thank you, Councillor West. I shall put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried, 5 and 3. 5 and 2. Can't do the maths. 5 and 2. Okay, item 8.1.9. All right, I'm on the right spot, Mr.
Yes,
CEO.
okay.
Fit out 2 Ballington Street for short stay. Yes, this seems to be a direction we're heading with these things. Anything you wish to add?
Yes, actually. Some late breaking news, I guess, that I hadn't been able to verify. So keep that, treat those both with caution, is that the locum doctor that recently stayed in town, we were advised by the local doctor surgery here that the locum doctor didn't use the NAB building on their recent stay because they didn't think that it was to their standard of accommodation. I have not been able to verify that report. I only reference it because that is exactly the sort of reasons why officers have taken this report to council, believing that while the NAB is absolute, I don't know how we'd run this place without it, we need more short stay accommodation for all sorts of different people.
All right, thank you for that, Mr. CEO. There's a recommendation, councillors. Moving, Councillor O'Brien. Do I have a second? Councillor Kilpatrick. Okay. Is there any questions of the CEO, first of all? Is there any dissent on the motion? I'll declare that carried, 7 and 0. We'll move along. Item 8.1.10. 10, staff accommodation strategy business plan consideration. Okay, CEO, there's been a bit of conjecture about this. You wish to flesh out some alternates?
I'd just point council to an email that was sent yesterday evening proposing an alternative recommendation if council wanted to not proceed at this time with the business plan. So that was distributed out. So yeah, happy to obviously field any questions that council has.
All right. Councillor Reid, first of all, did you get to see that
I
alternative?
couldn't see it on my email this afternoon when I double checked it. I did receive one at 10 a.m. yesterday. Yeah, I was just I've got it on my phone.
Mine just suggested I can't say what time.
No, no, it's up for discussion. Discussion.
Yeah.
So it was sent at
I've got an email yesterday.
6:01 p.m. Last
You
evening.
didn't receive? Okay, give you a moment to read. Have you got it, councillor West?
That's the email.
Yes.
I'll find it.
Of yesterday?
And for councillor Reid's benefit, it was sent through to the personal email address, given while they're still setting up the...
Yeah, we did discuss that, and I believe it's sent to the right personal address, Mr. CEO, so. Might have gone to junk mail.
Yeah, quite possibly.
How does that make you feel, Mr. CEO?
I think
All right.
it's actually on the phone.
Councillors, how do you wish to deal? I'm in your hands, councillor Ball.
I've spent a few heavy days mulling over the whole strategy and the timing and the amount required to top up from rates and our own source funding. And I've done spreadsheets and drank a lot of beer and trying to find my way through it. And I appreciate all the difficult and complicated work the staff have done, but I would like to see, without going on for too long, but I'd like to see an altered timing of when the buildings are built and the time of paying back a loan as well. I appreciate the sentiment of wanting to get on with it, but I can't find a picture that I'm comfortable with without doing some more work. Some suggestions I appreciate. The email which was going to suggest that we have an alternative plan that we could put out for comment for 6 weeks, which really runs the year out, and then January comes along and February, and we're not going to get anything done this calendar year, this financial year anyway. So I believe it gives the option for a rejig. In the background as well, we've got a couple of loans coming off. I think we've only got one more payment on the doctor's house. That finishes next year. The pool finishes in 30, I think. So I'd like to see a spreadsheet of how those repayments would change, because as time goes on, other loans will be dropping off, and the commitment won't be quite so great. So I'd like a little bit more detail there before it to be comfortable. If the majority want to go ahead, fine, I can live with it. But they're my thoughts.
Okay, thanks, councillor Ball. The alternate recommendation the CEO has put up largely is saying, if I can read that first line, second line, dot point 2, prepare a new staff accommodation strategy. Now that doesn't mean that we throw out the existing strategy. It means, to my mind at least, it means we fine tune that document. And that's sort of where I was going with it. I don't think the plan's bad, I just think it's just ambitious. And if we could fine tune it, spread it out even over the time frame which changes those loans you're referring to. So I'm not seeing a major redevelopment of the strategy, but I think it's taking that strategy and just finding it up within reason, and perhaps explaining some of those financial nuances a bit more along the way. Is that how you believe we would be going, Mr. CEO?
It would be for the council to determine. I suppose I'd frame my question in the narrow provisions of the legislation in this case.
Right.
This is a significant financial decision, and the officer's report talks about the significance of that financial decision. Because it's a significant financial decision, council is required to advertise a business plan for a period of no less than 6 weeks. And this point needs to make a determination about whether to proceed. If the council wishes to proceed but deviate from the business plan, if it's a significant deviation, the Act is very, very clear that you need to start again. You need to start the business plan side of things again. And from the conversations I've had with some councillors during the week, elongating the loan period, while it may be a very, very good idea or a bad idea or something that would be explored, that in itself would be a significant deviation from the business plan and would require a new business plan in the advertising process.
Yep.
That's that's maybe the course of action the council wishes to take, but we want to be very clear about what this means, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Councillor West?
Yeah, Mr. President, this particular item has been, I've been very concerned about it in one sense of where it's worrying me.
Okay.
I don't think we're going about it the right way and a few other things there, but I certainly like to say Councillor Ball's comments, the way we do it, and I think that's a darn good idea, but I'm just not comfortable where it was before.
Okay. All right, that works for me. Councillor O'Brien?
Overall, I'm quite happy with the plan. My biggest concern is the option to increase ratepayers' rate costs to cover it. I just don't think that should be considered within this at all.
Okay. Bearing in mind that there's not any alternatives if we wish to do the bills.
Well, the alternative is to not do something else.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah. Part of the strategy, in fact, is that the out years, I'll call them, are not committed under this strategy. Am I right, Mr. CEO? That it is a strategy but not a budgetary commitment, which means that each year of the strategy we would be rebuilding the budget to best fit the strategy. And dare I say it, that strategy is, I won't call it the highest priority, but a high priority in the budget process, which could well mean that yes, the footpaths don't get done that year or whatever may be stripped from the budget to rationalise the rates that we charge in the out years. Again, Councillor Ball makes a good point. So some of the loans falling due, I suspect they changed that slightly, but I suspect they've been built into the strategy, Mr. CEO. No, you don't believe so, Councillor Ball?
The figures don't indicate that to me, but the figures quite rightly identify what the costs are. Our year in year budget is slightly different. I mean, the house opposite Prioritage is 22,000 a year payment, so the pool is 25. By the time we're dropping those off down the track a bit, with the doctor's house 15 off, that number comes back considerably.
So our overall loan commitments you're referring to? Okay, yeah.
Looking at paying out sort of, what's 62,000 or so in paying off loans now.
Yep.
Which reduces that commitment in the out years.
Okay, all right, Mr. CEO, I'm getting the impression from council we're not going to commit to the recommendation, the original recommendation as was. I don't see we will be that much worse off, and correct me if I'm wrong, if we don't get progress this side of February. So it'll take us a while to get back, rejig the plan, put it back out to the community for the 6 weeks that you're referring to, Mr. CEO, bring it back in-house, we commit to it, that's probably February. But is that a problem? Do you see that as a great negative, councillors?
No, not that time of the year, no.
Can I just ask,
Yes.
did we get any feedback or comment with regards to the plan?
No, I received some informal commentary from one ratepayer indicating that they were surprised that the Shire had a housing problem.
There you go. All right, councillor.
That's as close as I got.
Sorry, councillor Ball, councillor West, I thought there was a hand waving over there, councillor Ball.
I'd reiterate that we should be getting on with improving the staff housing. But the few months to get everyone comfortable in the room with the direction we're heading, I think will be time well spent. I'll be quite prepared to furnish my initial thoughts on how it should look, to be thrown in the round filing cabinet or otherwise to help the discussion go along. And
Yeah.
it's just a matter of that process, how we do rejig, if rejig is the right word.
Yeah, well, look, for the benefit of the process right here and now, there is a alternate council recommendation, which I believe you did see. Do you have that, Mr Deputy?
Not
He's looking
sure.
disturbed.
Is that the one in the email, Ken?
It is.
Okay, I'll have a look and see what I can find out.
Personally think it's an acceptable alternate at this moment in time, but I'd like you to be comfortable by seeing it. All councillors, councillor West, have you found it yet?
Yeah, I've been reading it, that's why I like it.
Yeah, okay. Councillor Reid, have you had the
I was
opportunity?
going to confirm with councillor Kilpatrick as soon as.
Sure, do that. We'll take a moment, and councillor O'Brien hadn't seen it either. Have you read it since? And tried to find it in your... Okay. I could just about send it to John and quickly put it in the school.
He's got it there.
Has he?
No, I don't think I have, Ken.
No, I'll send it to John, it'll be quicker.
Right, you do that.
Yeah. I think so.
You can rule out the fact that John can read my mind.
Sorry, I do have that, yeah.
Found now? Here it is.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
You cut and paste that through to the...
Yep.
Terrific. Part of that, as you can see in item 3, has implications with regards to the CEO's performance criteria document, which we did populate earlier. I think that's absolutely reasonable if we
Yep.
recognise that fact. Councillor Paul, does that fill your thought process or cover your thought process?
Yes, I think so.
All right. Prepared to move? Councillor Ball has moved on the alternate recommendation. Councillor Chilcott has seconded. A moment to read. Councillor O'Brien, you're okay? Councillors, you comfortable to vote on that? Is there any dissent on that motion? I shall put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? It's carried, absolutely. Well done. Thank you, Mr CEO, for your patience.
Page 93.
Sorry?
Page 93.
93, thank you. Yes, 8.1.11, a request for additional bar, tables and stools in the rec centre. Councillor Ball is moving on the recommendation. Do I have a second? Councillor O'Brien. Anything you wish to add? Any questions? Any dissent on the motion? I shall declare that carried, absolutely. Item 8.1.12, Disability Access and Inclusion Plan, revised. Is there a recommendation, anything you need to add, Mr. CEO?
Just note the point 2 of the officer's recommendation that in asking council to adopt the disability action plan, there's it's an idea of a simple way that we can potentially increase accessibility in our town site.
Yep, okay, thank you. Recommendation, councillors? Mr. Ball is moving, do I have a seconder? Councillor West, are you seconding? You're not as yet. I'll hold and see if I can get a seconder for the recommendation, first of all. Not getting a seconder, thank you. Councillor Reid has second. You having a question or you dissent, Councillor West?
I'd like to put in an alternative motion if you don't mind.
You may put in a foreshadowed motion.
Foreshadow motion then.
Okay, please do.
And that is instead of front of the community centre, where it currently is, in front of the Commonwealth Bank. It's a hell of a lot easier to drive in.
They're already there, they're not being removed, Mr. CEO, are they?
No, this is an additional one.
Okay, so they're not being removed, this is an added Acrod parking.
Okay.
So there's one already there.
Yep, so they've got one in front of the old Commonwealth Bank, or two there, I think, isn't it? One, sorry, okay, still exists. All right, I'll ask again, is there any dissent on the motion? Question, Councillor
It
O'Brien?
is a question.
Okay,
Given that Acrod bays are a lot wider than a
Longer.
normal bay,
Yeah.
not longer, so wider for opening the car doors, etc., for wheelchairs access and blah, 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 is that a suitable, is that a safe place? So when you're talking about the Commonwealth Bank, are you talking where the RNI
no,
Commonwealth.
Bank with?
no, in front of, across the road from the post office,
Near
Oh,
the pharmacy.
okay.
yes.
I'm still concerned that the bay might not be, the road might not be wide enough, especially during harvest time.
Traffic.
Yeah, with the trucks,
Good
etc.
question, Mr. CEO.
Yeah, I completely acknowledge the councillor's concerns about that. The bay that we're referring to here is the same dimensions as the existing one. It's no wider than that.
Okay.
The positioning of the bay came directly from the community tea group and the people in the town who requested a second bay. There isn't a better place on the main road
Yeah,
than that one, because the only alternative is to have them on a side lane, which presents itself its own issues about visibility and the like. So I agree. Having anybody exiting a vehicle, pedestrian exiting a vehicle on there can be a dicey situation, particularly if the sun's in the wrong place. Albeit that that's the site that the people that participated in the community requested.
I guess my question would be, would it be more suitable to have it on the post office side where the park bay there is cut in, and if we do need to make it wider, we can access, remove paving?
Okay, if I can perhaps explain,
Yep.
the existing one is existing, so the one
Opposite.
that is opposite the post office is already designated.
Mhm.
We would have to go back and rechange it if that's where you're going, but that one exists at the moment. And dare I say, it's been there long enough that there was a Commonwealth
If
Bank.
it's there, that's.
Unfortunately, there's no longer. Councillor West?
I don't know how to go about it, but I reckon the ideal spot's in our town square. It's quiet, it's, 5 metres from the main road, and it's quite, and it's got plenty of room there for wheelchair access. You know, they're not worried about traffic coming down behind them or people getting out of car to help someone. I reckon that's a more logical place and all you got, the bay's most right big enough, or you just got to mark it out. I think it's quite
All right, well, I'm not going to try and sit here tonight and pick out sites. It's not what we're here for. I think we either go with this or we don't, as a matter of course, and strategically, I understand what you're saying, and I suggest, Mr. CEO, that it's not out of the question that we do look at a further outright parking on that parking on the town square, as we call it. If there are some there already,
The groups that we consulted with requested the bay to be where the officer's
Yeah.
recommendation is the bay to be.
yeah, that's what I was considering. It's put there for a reason. That's the community have actually asked it to be there
May I?
on that side. Certainly, councillor.
From my perspective, for someone to have the disability parking where it is now and sort of have two there, I think is a brilliant idea. You've got the pharmacy, you've got the care hub, you've got those actual places that people want to visit. The town square, as good as it is, it's a long way for someone in a wheelchair to get to the pharmacy.
I saw someone pushing a wheelchair from Ravensthorpe to Esperance the other day.
I had to push a wheelchair through airports in Perth and in Bali just recently, and it
All right,
was
councillors,
no
I
fun.
believe I have a motion. Am I right, Mr Deputy? This has been moved and seconded?
Councillor Paul and Councillor Reid.
Yes. Do I have any dissent? If not, I shall declare it carried. We will move on.
I'm against it.
Carried absolutely, Councillor Ball, Councillor West.
And 126.
126. I've lost that. Where's that? That's on
No,
the
it's
other
in the
document, is it?
second document.
That's going to test me. Where is that?
Oh, yes.
126.
Item number?
8.1.13.
Yeah, I wonder it. Thank you. Page 1 of the second document, for those who worked. Councillor, are you moving on the recommendation? Councillor Kilpatrick has moved on 8.1.13. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Ball. Okay, Mr CEO, anything you wish to
No,
add?
thank you.
Questions? Any dissent on the motion?
Okay.
You with us, Councillor West?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
All right, this is on the second document that was provided to us.
Yeah, right.
I can ask the deputy while we're waiting for a moment, the portal that we use can't handle a document of this size, Mr Deputy?
It did struggle, Mr President, with something that size here. We had to, or the CEO had to split the document into two main agenda documents. It just, it seemed to upload okay, but on iPads it didn't download.
That was my understanding. On a desktop it did download,
Yeah.
but not on our devices, so there's obviously a capacity constraint. It's probably the devices rather than the portal.
I think so, yeah.
Something to keep in mind in the future. All right, you're with us now, Councillor West?
Yeah. I'm trying to get my head around the other one, but anyway, go on.
Yeah, okay. You found the item. I have a mover and a seconder, I believe. Item 8.1.13. Is there any, sorry, Councillor Chilcott?
No.
Any dissent on the motion? In which case I shall declare it carried 7-0. Move along.
That's throwing me now because I've got different page numbers to you.
Yeah, it's going to confuse the heck out of us, isn't it? I should be able to find it here. We will be on page
29.
29. Thank you. Well done. Walga Local Emergency Management Survey 8.1.14. And I might add, councillors, that in the past these surveys have been sent by Walga to local governments all over the state, and they're simply asked that the answers be populated. This round we've managed to get this so that the answers become a decision of council. Huge difference, because councillors haven't been seeing what's been surveyed, and a lot of this stuff has been written by staff members of councils and slandered from their eyes, not from the eyes of emergency services operators out in our part of the world. And there's a huge difference between the two. So I'm very pleased that we've been able to achieve this, and the CEO asked myself and the Chief Bushfire Control Officer to wordsmith it on the way through to some degree, which we did. I was pleased to. So anything you wish to add, Mr. CEO?
Just that perhaps the difference between the CEO's viewpoint and the volunteers of the ground might be as great as perhaps previous ones or for those around the state.
May well be. We shall see.
We shall see.
We shall see. Anyway, that's the genesis of the document.
A lot of work.
Yeah, there's a recommendation there, councillors. Councillor Ball is moving, Councillor Kilpatrick seconds. Is there any questions? Any dissent of the document, of the motion? I shall put the motion. All those in favour? Against? It is carried. Absolutely. The next one is on page 61 on this document. You with me? 8.1.15. Ongoing little saga, Mr. CEO. The proposed fee for use of the Wagen airfield for aero modelling. You with us, Councillor West?
I am with you.
Good. There's a recommendation there, Mr. CEO. Nothing to add. Councillors? Moving, Councillor Ball. Do I have a
Yes.
seconder? Councillor Kilpatrick? Any dissent on the motion? I shall declare it carried. Absolutely. Item 8.1.16 on page 63 of the second document. It's a proposed group dwellings of lot 135 Unit Street, or 10A. If you like, Mr. CEO, anything you need to explain?
No, I don't believe so. Thank you.
Okay, recommendation is there, councillors. You're moving, Councillor O'Brien? Thank you. Nod of the head.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. You would have bought it. You would have bought the item at an auction. I'm with you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Chilcott. Okay. Once again, questions. It's great. We've got some developments happening here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any dissent on the motion?
No.
I shall put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Declare that carried. Absolutely. Next one will be on page 92, I believe, 17.
That's correct.
Thank you. We did have a little challenge with this one, Mr. CEO.
Yes.
Did you fine tune?
Yes, we had a spoke with the manager of finance regarding this. So the history of this, or the genesis of this report, the catalyst was for this report was actually following the January fires. There was feedback from some brigades about some of the challenges associated with using cards, and we took it to go and do some further explanation about the limits associated with those cards. Parallel to that, our recent audit has identified that the absence of a fuel card policy, not only for the emergency volunteers but for our home care people, is considered by the auditors to be an audit risk. So for two reasons, there's a rationale for having a policy. The intent of the policy is to provide flexibility for people to actually use it and be pragmatic and be able to use the cards for their intended purposes, but also provide a level of control. Now, Shah President and I had a conversation about a clause in the policy that currently exists that asks that the brigade chief sign off on that card. The conversation was the degree of which whether that actually provides a control and whether that's a reasonable a request given the operational matters that see the cards being in a vehicle and getting moved around all over the place. And speaking with the manager of finance, I think the officer's viewpoint is that it's quite reasonable to have a policy. Council needs to choose the controls that it has, and if council believes that that's not a reasonable control in the sense that having someone sign off that they will have custody of the card when in all practical terms they can't have custody of the card, then there isn't necessarily a point having that clause in there. So there are risks associated with that, but officers didn't necessarily have a better control given the parameters. Now, that's not to say that the auditors wouldn't come by, or the Reg 17, Reg 5 review come by and say, don't put your fuel cards in the trucks. We'll go, thank you very much for that suggestion. We'll continue to have the fuel cards in the trucks because that's where they need to be, but that's kind of the context there.
All right, so from my point of view, councillors, the challenge is we don't want to load up our bushfire brigade captains with more risk and responsibility. The way I read that motion is that the captain is signed as being responsible for those cards. But state and DFIS in their wisdom are happy to take our trucks and go to North Esperance and, you know, the Hills fires and just about anywhere in the state. Our trucks, if you like, DFIS say that their trucks, that's a bit of a conjecture, but these trucks are located in our brigades. Our brigade captains then are signing to be responsible for those cards. I don't see that they would do that. I wouldn't. So there's a challenge in that policy. I don't know how to overcome it. Yes, Councillor O'Brien?
Just a suggestion, with WA Health, we have fuel cards for all our cars, and we have a logbook. Everyone has to sign in when they get into the vehicle and sign out when they get out, and we put in how much fuel, so then you can clearly see who has put the fuel or signed up from the fuel. So the onus is on the person that is driving the vehicle.
Okay. Well, I can assure you, 99.9% of the times when I get into the fire truck, I'm in a hurry.
I realise that, but...
That's a good plan, I understand
yeah,
that, but I'm in
yeah.
a hurry. Mr. CEO, my text to you later was, is it reasonable for the captain to sign on behalf of the brigade? So the brigade holds the responsibility, not the captain.
Yeah, where we ultimately came down to in terms of myself and the manager of finance having the conversation is that the alternative that we would propose to council if they wanted to was to actually just remove that clause in the policy. It doesn't necessarily provide a layer of control, whether it's yourself as Australian President, the Chief Bushfire Control Officer, the Captain of the Brigades, or anybody else, while we have a required situation that these fuel cards are in the vehicle. If you've got the keys to the vehicle, well, you've got the keys to the vehicle for a start, you can take the vehicle wherever the heck you want. The fuel card is not necessarily a additional barrier. Now, whether in the fullness of time we find devise a more effective control, that you know, we can revisit the policy, but the officers would be quite comfortable, I think, with council adopting the policy that sets its risk appetite.
Yep.
With that clause removed, if council feels that, as officers on reflection probably do, that it doesn't add a lot of necessarily, it adds the perception of control where there actually isn't a additional control.
Okay, I'm comfortable with that. So on page 95 of this document, as part of the policy we're looking at, it states the authority for use of fuel cards, shore wage of fuel cards, may be issued to the captain of each brigade. So are you just deleting that line and then by default the authority, which is Appendix A, falls away?
Yeah, I might just defer to the manager of finance for the details of the policies. Bruce spent more time on it than I have.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We would need to change a few things in the policy if we were going to take that out. So there's a couple of places where it refers to. There's point 3. My pages are a little bit different to some of yours. I've got page 221.
Okay, well perhaps then if I can cut across, the recommendation may say adopts the policy with the removal of the requirement for the captain to sign, and then you can take those bits out.
Yes, I can pull them out and redo the policy.
Okay, you've got that wording, haven't you, Mr. Deputy?
I believe so. I'll just typing ahead, Mr. President.
All right, fantastic.
So,
Just a second, if we can, councillor Reid.
Sign for the cards.
Yeah. Yeah. Councillor Kilpatrick, you were about to comment, or?
No, just happy with that, yep.
Okay. All right, but before we speak on the subject, if I can, any further, we'll see if we have the enthusiasm for council to move the motion. Councillor Ball's moving, second, Councillor Kilpatrick. Okay, further, Councillor Reid?
I just had a question. So when the cards are used, and then the invoice comes in for that card, I'm guessing it comes to the Shire for payment. So then would that not then go to the brigade to say, is this a true and accurate thing?
Through the chair, this is another reason that we need this policy. Currently, we only get a statement that tells us how much has been spent on fuel. The brigades don't actually send us any. Most of the time, there's no actual invoice. It's just when they go to the fuel station, as you know, you'll get a slip.
Docket.
So I'm familiar with the Great Southern fuel cards, but at the bottom of each statement, they have a record of the use.
I'd have to have a look at what.
But anyway, moving on from that, and when DFIS take it, you would send it to DFIS to ratify the invoice, surely,
No,
Well,
as far as I'm
no.
aware, we don't
and then invoice them for the use of it.
Not necessarily DFARS that take it, it's actually our volunteers that take our truck to a DFARS bigger event.
Oh, that's fair enough.
So, you know, that's the complication of it. They request, and some of our guys are keen to go. We're certainly not going to hold them back from that.
No.
But, you know, there's just, the challenge is, in most occasions, you know, our bushfire captains, the senior certainly likes the Goldie, is not going to go. Hopefully, he's not going to go to these bigger events. And so he's not in the truck, of which he has signed responsibility for those cars. Mr. CEO points out that, yes, if you've got the keys to the truck, that's worth more than the fuel card anyway. In reality, the truck's worth $500,000. So you're not going to get that out of a fuel card. Anyway, I think
Can I?
all of the, yes, you may, all of these policies are subject to change if we feel the need to change them. So don't for a moment think this is put in stone. We can revisit it as soon as next month, Mr. CEO, if the needs be. But in the meantime, we get as close as we can to something that's workable. Councillor?
I just wanted to ask, are the fuel cards allocated to a person or a registration number?
As far as I know, at the moment, they're not allocated to anything, they're just put in the truck. As far as I know, we haven't issued any since I've been here, so the ones that they have, they've had for
Because
however
if
long
they're
they've had them.
allocated to a registration number of a car, it might limit that access if someone tries to take it and have the registration number on the car. On the
I
car.
don't know. Councillor Reid, when you use your BP card, you don't need to put your
Got to
registration
fill up the
number.
Shire tanker down there at BP and no one would ever know.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
right.
believe it's linked.
No, unfortunately,
And
it's a good idea.
it's an unmanned
Because that's
station.
what ours are, wax, and
Yeah, and I think we can
I think.
perhaps
it's-
ask our volunteers to hold the receipt, is that the word, or present the receipt to the manager?
That is part of this new policy, that we need to get the receipts.
I understand that. My challenge is, again, you know, we have 100 and how many volunteers doing this stuff, and to get that information across we don't want to stop our volunteers volunteering. I think that's my fundamental in this. If we do that, we're going backwards. And the Auditor General may sit in her ivory tower and think this is a bloody good idea, but I don't. Personally, Councillor West?
Yeah, look, I use these card machines a lot there. sorry, there's no paper for a printout, so that cancels that idea. And then on the other note, there is a lot of the server, because I use a lot of fuel, we do not take motor pass. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a lot of expense with the motor pass, a certain amount of percentage of charges, but yeah, a lot of them don't take it now.
All right, added complications. We might move on, councillors. That's a recommendation. I believe it has been moved and seconded. If there is no more dissent, or no dissent at least, there's plenty of issues around it. Councillor Kilpatrick?
No.
No, you're okay. And as I said, if it doesn't work, I think our staff will let us know. Manager of Finance will have to have another look at it.
Yes,
Mr. President, I would note that this request for some clarification actually came from Brigades First Fire. It would be entirely reasonable for us, once Council adopts the policy, to take it to BFAC for their review and commentary as well. Difficult in that context of that BFAC to, I guess, shape a policy before Council had even considered it as well, but I think the policy ticks a couple of boxes and enables us to say that the auditor, we now have a policy that provides a level of control and also deals with the core issues that the Brigades identified back in that fire.
Yeah. All right, you've heard the explanation, councillors, so from there, is there any dissent on the motion? I shall put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried, absolutely. Okay, 8.1.18 on page 100 of the second document. Consideration of submission to the Select Committee into Land Development Planning in Western Australia. Well drafted response, in my opinion. It's a recommendation. Councillor Ball, you moving?
Absolutely, I really enjoyed the narrative underneath. It made my day when I read that.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Kilpatrick. Any questions? Any dissent on the motion? I shall declare that carried, absolutely. Oh, I'll pass the next one. 8.1.19 on page 104, Mr. CEO. Need to expand or?
Yes, actually, I will clarify, a point of clarification that was raised up the posted agenda is being very, very clear. So, Council had previously allocated some funding for some works that were required to enable aerial reloading to occur. That involved some modifications to the tank and fittings and a pump and the like. During the course of us procuring those items, or preparing to procure those items, DVCA rather handily advised us that they would actually supply that stuff to the Shire. So we no longer needed those bids and no longer needed those funds, which is handy. They wouldn't come to me on agreeing how much they paid for the upgrades to the airfield, as much as I would have liked them to pay for the entire thing. But the option there now provides us to use the savings from the parts of the pump and the fittings and the like that are no longer required, and then also taking the remainder from the airfield reserve upgrade that part of the reserve. So hence the somewhat complicated financial part of the office's recommendation.
So there's the motion, councillor. So the 7,500 is the savings effectively you're referring to? Councillor Ball?
Just ask for a clarification if I may.
Yes.
Elsewhere, there's a need for stabilisation of the area as well, that increases the overall cost of the whole job. Am I reading that correctly?
No, the stabilisation's in that cost. They're for 940 metres, at 22 metres wide. That's 940 squares.
Just later in the confidential, there is a figure of about 80,000 for the whole job.
That includes the basketball court, if I remember right.
Yeah, I would hope so. That's it.
All right, recommendation?
Yes.
Okay, Councillor Ball is moving. Yes, Mr. CEO.
So are we satisfied that that's absolutely the case?
So the cost to council is 38,389 coming from reserves.
Yeah, I just want to double check the numbers before we, if it just asks for a bit of indulgence.
Okay. All right, councillors, we resume the meeting and Mr. CEO will clarify.
Okay, I wish to acknowledge and thank Councillor Ball for his eagle eyes, which has saved me a lot of heartache. The officer's recommendation was missing a point 3, which is actually accepting a quotation for the supply of cement stabilising, which is obviously an essential part of the work, and I apologise to council for the omission of that part, which appeared in the table, the confidential table of the works required, but not the actual officer's recommendation. What we are proposing is that we accept a quotation from SBA for the supply of cement stabilising for the price of $12,795. So mental math's not my strong point, but 27 plus 18 plus 12 is roughly the scores. That means that we will need to essentially find an extra $12,795 rather than identifying funding points at this point. The officer's recommendation would be that we request that the CEO identify funding sources, which would likely be the airfield reserve still and some other bits and bobs that we've identified during the mid-year budget review. Given that the importance of the work being conducted, which we really do want to occur prior to the commencement of the fire season. So that's seeking council's forgiveness on this one. That was our alternative officer's recommendation on the fly.
All right, councillors, you've heard the explanation. Councillor Ball, you're comfortable?
I'm obliged to now.
Doesn't mean you have to, but you are obliged. You're moving on the recommendation. Well done, thank you. Councillor Kilpatrick seconds. All right, councillors, you've heard the explanation. Is there any dissent on the motion? I shall put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried absolutely. Well done, Mr. CEO. We've found our way through it. Okay, on my documents, we're on to item 8.2. And in particular, 8.2.1, the Deputy CEO's activity report for September. There's a recommendation that we received. Councillor Chilcott moved, Councillor O'Brien seconds. Moving along, Mr. Deputy, your chance to shine. Is there anything out of your report you need to expand upon?
Possibly just to indicate that the oven at the rec centre has been installed now, and the niche wall has now been started, and pool shade sales will be arriving on Thursday. Not part of, it's probably more for one of the later reports, but we have today received back the keys for Hangar 4
Oh, okay.
at the airfield, so
Right.
yeah, that's
Good, well done.
a good but belated result.
No, that's fine. All right, councillors, questions of the report? There being none, is there any dissent on the motion? I shall put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. 7-0. Manager of Works report is on page 116 of this second document. There's a recommendation that council notes the manager's report. Councillor Wall has moved. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Kilpatrick, Manager of Works. Anything to add?
Yeah, just we've sealed Benord Road. That's been out to 7 metres for 1.2 kilometres. The hockey club with the footpath and disabled ramps been put in. We've got some tidying up to do around there now and run a few drain pipes out from it, get the water away from the building itself. We stabilised the Bullocks Hill Road today, and that gets sealed next Thursday, and then we start Bugarring. Well, we've already started it, we'll go back and finish that off and stabilise that on the 10th, I think it is, and seal that on the 20th, something around there. And then we'll come to town and do some jobs. We received the new roller last Thursday, and that's out working. Yeah, it's not a bad machine. no grease points at all. It's all sealed,
Okay.
so you don't have to grease it.
Good. Is it self-greasing or
No,
sealed?
there's no seal, no grease at all.
Okay.
It's all got sealed. The new grader comes next Friday. So they'll be delivered on Friday. So. Apart from that, everything else has been going quite good. That's about it, I think, yeah.
All right, thank you. Questions to the manager of works? Yes, councillor O'Brien.
The broken sand trailer, has that been modified yet, or has that been,
Well, we had it going and it worked.
sorry?
We actually had it going
Oh,
and it worked for, can't remember how many days, 2 or 3 days. So I don't know if it's a glitch in it, but I don't know what happens when you put the computer side into it. Because we didn't get to that point, but it actually works.
Okay.
But I don't know what happens when you put something on there.
oh, that's stopped again. Is that what you're saying?
No, the screen there, it comes up. But
Oh,
when you put your laptop on there to input something, I'm not sure if that's what the problem is or not.
oh.
Okay, so further investigation required?
I think so, yeah. I'll have to get Don George to go down there and plug it in.
That would be with the school area, I think, people.
Yeah, but that's if it works, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I know the screen there, it works. They had a display on it.
Oh, okay. When you come in from out of town, that RAC sign, or, you know, the sign that says what speed you're doing,
Yeah,
it comes up at 188 kilometres.
I know, they all do
Well,
it.
slow down.
I don't know why they do that, they all do it, then it goes back normal.
Oh, yeah, and then a couple of seconds later it goes to your real speed.
Yeah,
Well, you're only in second gear when you hit that too, at 188.
So that's just,
yeah, I think most of them do it, the ones we got around here.
yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
The arrangement for those speed signs has certain compromises associated with them. One of them is that we've got them on those blocks to enable them to be
Yeah.
moved around. The positioning of them is higher than the manufacturer's recommendation. So the 188 that it sends out is its error message. So effectively, it picks you up miles out before you can even see the sign, but it will flash up its error message until it collaborates. No.
Yeah, corroborate.
Yeah, your exact position, because it will pick you up even though it's a little bit higher than the manufacturer's point. So that's why I'll often give you a 188. Same as if it's sensitive to obviously sunlight and things like that. So it will say there's something there, I can't exactly determine what speed it is, therefore I flash up the error message, which is 188. Oh, no, I've got it. 49 k's an hour.
Awesome.
Or it's picked you up a whole lot further out the highway at the speed you were doing.
Drop yourself in.
Oh, no.
Yeah, fair question. All right, any other questions of the manager of works?
I just reckon the distance those signs are working is fantastic, because the one in Bream Hill there, you passed before it registers your speed.
Really?
No, the good distance these ones.
Yeah, when we were installing it, it was, I couldn't work out why it was saying 20, and it was because it was picking up, this was the one that when we first unpacked the signs, we had them in front of the pound.
Yep.
And they were picking up vehicles turning in on the main street, off the main street into Vernal, at the location of the pound. So
Really?
if you think that you can slow down and beat a policeman's radar, no chance. They've got you before you've seen them.
Interesting. They seem to be effective. That's my take on it. It might be just my imagination, but it does seem to me as though there's a better approach to how people are going through town.
I agree.
Anyway, manager's report. Anything further of that report? Anything else?
No, it's a really good.
All right, has been moved and seconded. Is there any dissent? Not, I shall declare that carried 7-0. We shall move on to 8.4.2, being the purchase of the CEO's vehicle and the recommendation. There, note that the CEO has declared an interest. Councillor Ball,
Yes, I'm happy to move it.
moving on the recommendation? All right. Councillor Kilpatrick seconds. Any questions? Any dissent on the motion? Declare that carried, 7-0. Doctor's vehicle, 8.4.3. Similar recommendation. You saw the answer to my question from the CEO? Yes? You've all seen the answer to my question to the CEO? I thought it was an in-house question, but I don't mind it being shared. It referred to the spare tyres. I'm an old traditionalist, and these machines don't have spare tyres, they have a tyre repair kit in them, apparently.
Oh, they don't even have the 80-kilometre tyre.
Apparently not. They have a tyre repair kit, so it's flat as a proverbial. I don't know what happens then.
What's that in this here? It's Havel.
In a Havel, yeah.
Well, we've got an associated car and we have a full-blown identical spare wheel on.
Do you? Okay, all right. I asked the question of the CEO, can you fit a full-blown spare? And the answer, did you research that to discover that they are going to take up all of the boot space, or?
Yeah, so, yes, the vehicle, quite rightly pointed out, doesn't have a spare tyre, it has a repair kit. The reason for that is because there isn't room in the area for the spare tyre because it's taken up by the battery. In the event of a breakdown, the vehicle does have a full 5-year roadside assist program. So, and I haven't inquired with the general practitioner about whether they have ever changed a tyre before.
Councillor Ball?
I'll move on the recommendation.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Ball has moved on the recommendation as written. Do I have a second? Councillor Kilpatrick. Any dissent on the motion? Councillor West? Okay, just hold your horses if you can. Councillor Ball, your motion.
I've spoken with Mr. CEO and done some research after finding out the particular model. Considered the fact that in several decades I've had a flat tyre driving on the lovely road network we've got. There's plenty out in the paddock and I've done plenty of walking. I don't see that as a disadvantage. I think given the likely use of the vehicle toing and froing from an address in town and minimal travel, that it's suitable for the purpose.
Okay, very cool. Councillor Kilpatrick.
Yeah, no, well, I think that the officers have done the research and looked at the vehicles and are happy enough with it. And again, I'm the same. I haven't had a flat tyre for, I shouldn't say that, for a long time on the road. I don't see that being a major issue, so especially with the roadside assistance. So yeah, we can support local. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, thank you. Councillor West.
Yeah, look, this is my opinion, and that is that several years ago we had different makes of cars and we all swapped over to Toyotas. And because that was going to be our policy, Toyota policies. And that's been a bit like we have been in the MUXs, we've stuck to one car all the way along. Yes, I realise time to change. The only thing is I'm a little bit concerned about is next time we go to change, and this is what we need to bear in mind, especially with this one here, we're going to possibly be forking out 2 or 3 times the amount if this car doesn't sort of work out. That's only a point that I would like to make, okay?
Yeah, I think that's a valid point. We're downsizing or downscaling a little here, and if we wish to go back to the scale, that will be a big leap.
Yep.
I think that's a fair point you raise. All right, speakers for the motion? Yes, no?
No, that
You just bought the item. Okay, closing, Councillor Ball.
Nothing more to add.
All right, I shall put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried 6-1. We shall move on. Item 9 on page 123 of this new document is a notice of motion. Ballinger Street traffic calming, and you can read the recommendation there, councillors. Council request. This is coming from Councillor West. You're moving, Councillor West?
Yeah.
have a seconder? Councillor Chilcott. All right. Is there any dissent on the motion? Councillor Ball. Okay, your motion, Councillor West.
Look, I've spoken to the CEO several times there, and the main reason is that a lot of the traffic comes down there, e.g. trucks and trailers and all that sort of, do not need to come down Ballaghan Street. There's a perfectly good road for them to take. You know, the rattle and bang and everything like that, you know, you don't need huge vehicles driving down there. If they do come in from Ballaghan Street, then what they're doing, they're actually breaking the law going from Trent Street onto the Lake King Rollins Road, because they certainly cannot get around the corner with the length of trucks that are coming down there. One of my proposals to the CEO was put a little nip outside Bank West between the Town Square and Bank West. That'll certainly stop or deter a lot of the trucks. So it's a pretty simple little thing there. Also, it makes it safer for people to cross from the Town Square over to Bank West. And that's really the nuts of it. And I've also proposed a chicane system, because I know we've got the speed cameras up there, but I tell you what, they fly up and down that road. And the other thing too is you've got to remember that from Longy's Place right up to Rifle Street, before the drive-in, there's no footpaths, and people are walking on the road. And it's quite dangerous. And by putting these a chicane or whatever it is, hence the proposal to get a report of what the best ways to go out, because you know, there's no footpath either side of the road there, and a lot of people are walking around there. So hence why I think we should be doing it.
All right, thank you, Councillor West. Councillor Chilcott.
I share Councillor West's concerns and comments.
All right, Councillor Ball.
The traffic data doesn't support the reasons for moving the motions, and the Trent Street doesn't appear in the motion anyway. It's Ballaghan Street that we're talking about. We've had several goes at this over the years, from recommending a roundabout to all sorts of things that have gone on, and I'd really like to prefer to see the speed signs there for an extended period of time. I also have an employee who lives on that street that tells me this person does not see a problem. So it's not a universal view that there is speeding traffic. There may well be, but the road statistics in the report don't really support the extreme speed that is mentioned. It may well be true, but if you were to limit the access to large vehicles, then I suspect what will happen is that they'll get down to the Bank West corner and have nowhere to go. So I think we should stick with the current speed signs, and I don't see any need of spending up to $10,000 on preparing another report, which will probably recommend what the last one did, which we did agree with.
All right. Thank you, Councillor Ball. Speakers for the motion? Speakers against? I suspect you're not going to speak against it, Councillor West. It's your motion. You'll get the opportunity to close in due course.
Okay, I'll speak
Sure.
again.
So I'm just going through. There are no further speakers. You do get to close your motion.
Yeah, look. I know Councillor Ball's referring to statistics over a little bit short period of time, and if you want to get the real statistics, then put over a longer period of time. I did request a traffic count on Unicorn Street because there were some heavy trucks coming through. Well, the period of time we put the tapes there, no heavy trucks came through, even though they still do coming through. So, you know, the statistics are showing some numbers, but they're not a real indication. And all it is you can do a trial period putting some sandbags there, and once they get the message is they'll use the main street. What are you saving? 6 seconds by coming down that street versus the designated route, so to speak. People are walking on the streets or on the footpaths all the time, and you don't need this traffic in a residential suburban area. There's roads designed for trucks. Put the trucks on the roads. Thank you.
All right, thank you, councillor West. That concludes the debate. Drive this machine. Right, there we go. There being no further debate, I will put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? That is lost 3-4. Thank you, councillor West. You've gone through the right process. Well done.
Speak well.
Worth a try. Okay, item 9.2, and that's in a separate document somewhere. Notice of motion to the Central Country Zone. Here it is. And you will, I suspect, recall the press release that we put out a week or so back with regards to this item. We spoke of it at the special meeting last week briefly. It's essentially our, well, in this case, I will move the motion from the chair. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Ball. Thank you. In which case then I can speak to the motion briefly. As you can see, I'm, in my personal opinion, leads the opposition to compulsory voting in full council elections. I'm of the knowledge or thought at least that you can't do one without the other. They go together. I know other local governments are going to put up something similar this is actually from the, I won't name the local government, but well south of here, in the Great Southern Zone, and they were more concerned about the full council elections, not so concerned about compulsory voting. So I think the two go together. Anyway, that is the motion, has been seconded. Is there any dissent on the motion? That being the case, I'll stop talking and declare it carried. We will go back. Confidential business.
Sorry, we do have the urgent business that occurs before confidential.
Where are we going to find that, Mr. CEO?
Well, I found it on the website.
I don't know that I've got it. Urgent business.
Which is the,
That one?
which is the.
Oh, yes, 11.1.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, councillors, as an additional document once again. Have you found? You're with us, Councillor O'Brien? Found this document?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes,
Councillor Kilpatrick?
I'm moving a slight variation.
Sure. What are you moving?
Yeah, I'll move with it. Yeah.
With a slight variation? What variation?
The variation being that in the intent of where this definition of the 200 metres sealed, 50 metres sealed, the 10,000, in the Department of Ag spiel is the 10,000 per annum limit be applied.
Right, so that's in item dot point
So the
4.
sheep feedlots, yeah.
Sorry, I'm not quite with you what the actual amendment.
So that, yeah, so no more than, no.
So it's almost dot point 5, is it?
No, so it'd be sheep feedlots, but it would be, see, you might better, so whether it's greater than 200 metres and less than 10,000 sheep, 10,000 head throughput per annum.
Right.
So the intent is that the sheep feedlots that have less than 10,000 sheep per annum go through are exempt from as a general clause, or
So part of those,
Yeah, so I'll explain the intent is, we,
Please do,
yeah, so the intent would be that we wouldn't have a commercial, what I would call a commercial scale feedlot exempt from the system, from that.
Okay, so then you would have to paraphrase it, to be sheep lots with fit for purpose infrastructure that can be used for all year round feeding, where sheep eggs for slaughter are not to be considered to be animal husbandry, where the lot is greater than those things, and then the last, at the very end there, that would be unless the feedlot has more than 10,000 per annum throughput. Yeah.
So then this clause doesn't apply to those people?
As I understand, that's the intention.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I probably haven't explained that very well then. But yeah, and I don't think we have anything of that scale in this.
Not currently.
Currently, but there potentially is, and so with a again, I forget the 10,000. When you get to that commercial scale, then you've got trucks and a lot of machine, lot coming in and going pretty quickly. So
Yeah.
so it'll be what? Yeah, commercial.
Councillor, there was also another proposed clause from the proponent, just trying to bring it up now, which I thought you were raising, but obviously you're not, about the screening. Did you get that?
Yes, I did.
You're not?
Yeah, it's not in there.
It's not in there. And I don't know, Mr. CEO, the distance from the roads, what is the reason for those distances? Is it visual? Is it amenity? Is it potential infrastructure damage to those?
Yeah, so those distances are taken from that departmental guideline, which is an attachment to the report, and I'll just read verbatim. It says the sheep feedlots must be sufficiently separated from sensitive receptors to minimise the potential for off-site impacts, such as nuisance, odour, noise and dust, and to ensure the protection of groundwater and surface resources. There are fixed separation distances all feedlots must abide by in Table 2, and variable separation distances specific to each feedlot. And then those distances are the ones that are put forward there. So effectively, it is to ensure that there's sufficient separation to sensitive noise receptors, of which they consider a road to be one of those receptors.
Right. Okay, whereas the proponent, we won't name, has written to us, Councillor Kilpatrick and myself, and added the potential clause that we may consider, or 100 metres to a sealed road if the feedlot is obscured by trees and shrubs. I don't necessarily like that wording. I think if it's visually screened, would be a wording that I might use, but do you wish to include that in your motion?
I'm happy to. I mean, I just found the obscured by trees and shrubs being a little bit obscure and not quite clear, so I was prepared to change the 200 to
Change it to...
Yeah. Given, again, going back to my 10,000, it becomes a sort of owner-operator feedlot, not a commercial enterprise.
Okay. So, yeah, okay.
Is that, yeah, sorry, I probably haven't made that clear, but yeah.
Yeah, it does. So those numbers relate to intensive feedlots, is that what you're saying? So they relate to more than 10,000?
Yeah.
Anything less than that, the 100 and 200, 150 metres and 200 metres don't apply anyway? Is that the way you're reading?
No, they still would apply.
Still do apply?
They still would apply, but they're just, if the 10,000 is, and then the licensing would be required.
Okay.
Is that how you see, Mr. CEO? Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the catalyst for this report is actually a potential application to the Shire, and as I understand it, that application involves the construction of a sheep feedlot with fit for purpose infrastructure that can be used for all year round feeding. That is proposed to be less than 200 metres from a sealed road.
Yeah. Okay. Comfortable.
So if council was to pass this resolution, then that proposal would need to have a DA.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. No, solve for a second, councillor West. So you're comfortable with your wording, councillor Kilpatrick?
Sorry. Oh. 3 foot, yep.
All right, I'll call for a seconder, first of all. Councillor Ball has seconds. Councillor West, do you have a question or you're speaking against?
Look, a couple of questions, that is,
Okay.
the Katanning abattoirs, that certainly doesn't look ugly or anything like that. The sheep right up against the road there, and they're on sort of feedlots there to be quickly transported. Then you go to the scenario on the Upper Beverley Road, where I don't know how many thousand sheep go through there, but they're inside a shed. You know, so it's you know, there's this one sheep per 5 square metres. God, you'd have God knows how big a shed you'd have if in that scenario. And you drive past there, and I hear a heap of sheep manure there, and they're bagging and selling it all. So it's you know, does that come into this category? You know, a shed, or is it? Or you're talking open paddock feedlot?
It is, and it's the scale that we're actually, we're not limiting, but we're defining a scale, and above that, which is the one in York you're referring to, would certainly sit outside of this policy and have to come back to council. So anything within reason on a modest scale, once this policy is passed, the staff can deal with it, it won't come to council. Is my read of it, Mr. CEO?
That's correct. If it's not this, then it's actually a permitted use.
Yep. Okay, anything further? Any dissent on the motion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? It's carried, absolutely. All right,
Move to.
I need to close the meeting to the general public, yes? If that's okay, you stay with us shortly. We'll be in the next room very shortly. Alan will guide you. Mr. CEO will... all right, somewhere in this document, have I got that one pre-populated? No, I haven't. Must be towards the end.
I think it's actually at the front.
Pardon?
I think it's actually at the front.
It's actually the front, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it is too, all right. 12.1.1, councillors, have you found it? Because it took me a while. You've got it? Councillor Chilcott?
Yes, and I'm prepared to move.
You're moving on the recommendation?
I am.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Kilpatrick? All right, anything you wish to add, Mr. CEO?
No, thank you. Your report also does not have anything, being the Deputy CEO.
No, nothing.
Nothing to add?
Thanks, Mr.
All right, terrific. Is there any dissent on the motion? That being the case, I shall declare it carried, absolutely. That is the only
It is.
confidential item.
Yes, please.
Which case, did I take a motion to close the meeting to the public?
No.
You did it very quickly.
I heard something.
I was slipped through. We have closed the room to the public.
Well, actually, I mean, no, okay. No, I can't get out of that one.
That's all right. I'll take it as a obligation to have a slap on the wrist for not taking that motion.
Well, it is up to council to determine whether it wishes to close a meeting to the public to discuss confidential business.
Well, I did clear the room, so that's a good start.
Yeah, but there certainly was an indication of an intent to close
That was
the
the
meeting.
intent. What I cannot do is take a motion to open the meeting to the,
I'll close the meeting.
well, no.
Huh?
Post the motion having been put, there is no relevance, which is a bit unfortunate,
Yeah.
but we will deal with that at a later date. So, as I was saying, we cannot open the meeting to the public because we never closed it to the public formally.
The snake has eaten itself.
Or words to that effect. Suffice to say, for the record, the item was dealt with no members of the public in the chambers.
Correct.
You can record that, Mr. Deputy. Thank you. That being the case, I shall close the meeting. 9:11. Thank you all for your patience and attendance, and we've very well got this far.